I could introduce Marcos, who's Managing Director for Spark Foundry, to do a presentation for you guys. Thank you, Marcos.
Hello, everyone. So, yeah, 3 arguments for and against AI. And I'm going to start with the opportunities for, and I'm going to use it and kind of build a lens through which looking at how customers, so real people, are already adopting, so not just marketers, like real people who are adopting AI, using it in their own lives, and then what the implications might be for brands. And there's 3 big areas that we're already seeing this happening in. So how people are adopting behaviors within creating with AI, socializing, massive changes within social media, and then shopping and the future of e-commerce. So the first start is around creating, and we're now living at a moment where we can honestly say for the first time, everybody can now call themselves a creative. Because until this point, the people that sort of earned that name, understandably, quite rightly, were the people that had the training and the skills to translate their thoughts into something tangible. So a picture or a movie or a song or a painting. Now, with generative AI, everybody can do that. So we're all capable now of articulating all the weird and wild and wonderful thoughts that we have in our heads, and then sharing that with our friends and our family, but also with the brands that we want to interact with. And we're seeing that happen already. So this is a lovely example, particularly from Nike, and it's going one step further because we're starting to see the emergence of fans as product designers. So they're using inspiration, the things they care about, to design their own Nike trainers through lots of different stimulus. You've got different materials and timelines, and you've got different collaborations, ingredients. So you've got like baked bread Nike. You can get like a loaf of bread. I mean, that's never going to happen, but the inspiration behind it, you're starting to see all these different sort of forms come through. Now, at a basics level, you could just say, well, this is brilliant to UGC. Nike's just benefiting from their fandom, and they've got a new way to express themselves. But I would argue it goes a lot deeper than this, because this is market research. This is product design. This is customers effectively saying, we're telling you what we want to buy, and if you produce this for us, we will give you money for it. And it's the marketing teams now that have the intelligence to be able to do that, to go back to their companies and say, this is our product roadmap. So I think we'll start seeing a lot more marketing taking back control of products as well as promotion through the use of AI. Now, to do this, they've got to be able to listen and understand where these conversations are happening. Now, social listening needs to be upgraded, and we're starting to see that, because social listening is kind of a misleading term. It's really social reading in the past. It looks at text. 80% of content is unstructured, so it's images, it's sound, it's video, and traditionally, brands haven't been able to really explore that. But we can use generative AI now to read and watch this content, and then to identify when a brand's showing up, what are people saying about it, how are they designing you, what context are they talking about you, and then use that intelligence to build strategies about how to design products and to sell and to grow market share for the future. So this is possible. You can build these sort of tools already. If you want to talk about the technicalities afterwards, happy to have a discussion. But that's sort of the first big area of opportunity around creating and then intelligence. The second one then is around social media. And we're starting to see a massive impact, particularly in terms of influencers and the way that AI is starting to have a big impact on this. So this is Karen Marjorie. She's real. She's very big on Snap. Karen was the first influencer to fully digitize and virtualize herself. So there's virtual Karens, Karen AI, that she now monetizes. Karen makes about $300,000 a month from her digital selves. So Karen's just sitting on the couch, and her virtual selves are going out, and the fans are basically paying to have relationships and conversations and just interact with Karen. And that's what we're starting to see lots of influencers beginning to do. So finding entirely new revenue stream, ways to monetize their fan base and all of their historic content, because they're basically finding an LLM, training it on all the hours of content that's happened in the past, so it sounds like them, it acts like them, it reacts like them. This is the way that influencer content is going to work in the future. Meta is going to be a big part of that. They're already experimenting with it in the US. So this is a beta that's already running, and they're basically creating virtual personas, and they're working with big celebrities already. So Kylie Jenner. So this is all sort of, all above board. They paid Kylie Jenner a lot of money, Snoop Dogg, a few others, to basically use their content and create virtual personas. So now people in America can effectively have a Kardashian as a best friend to talk to and to have conversations with day or night, whenever they need. And we're going to see a growth of this and influencer content in the future. So our social networks are going to change. It's not just going to be the people, humans in our networks. There's going to be synthetic personas. And people won't differentiate between the two because we're going to have very deep and intimate relationships with these people, even if these people don't exist. That in turn is going to create huge impact in terms of 24/7 content effectively, particularly influencer content. So we're seeing this already come through from China in a big way. So over there, live commerce generates about 25% of all e-com. And we're seeing this grow in terms of live commerce. So an example is an influencer called Li Zhu, who was personally responsible for selling $2.9 billion US dollars of products in one day last year. In 7 hours, he sold $2.9 billion worth of products. Now, Li Zhu is able to digitize themselves effectively. So they're able to sell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is the way that commerce is going to grow in the future. So live streaming, live commerce hasn't taken hold in the UK, in the West yet. It is coming. People that say it's just an Eastern thing, it's way off the mark. This is coming. The growth of AI and virtual influencers are going to be a big part of how that's going to happen. And sophisticated brands are starting to experiment with this so they're not caught out in the near future. The third part, I'll skip through that. The third part, nice segue, is into the wider area of commerce. But to frame that, I thought, has anybody seen this? Anybody been watching The Gentleman series? It's good? I've only seen one episode, is it? Keep going? Nice. So I liked, the first episode was good. I liked the clothing as well, apart from the terrifying chicken outfit. Particularly this number, that shirt. So I was like, I don't have enough mustard-coloured corduroy shirts in my wardrobe. I should get some more of that. So I asked ChatGPT and I said, I like the shirt. Here's an image. I didn't give much of a description beyond that. I like the shirt. What should I wear it with? And then it started to create customized suggestions for me. So different styles, different items, different seasons, different social occasions that I could wear it in. It then started creating visuals, so I get my own personal. And effectively, I have my own stylist to help me with whatever I need. When we all have this, you can use this for free. You can have your own stylist to give you advice. Now, where it gets really interesting is I then prompted it to say, well, I like what you've given me. Here's a budget. Where could I buy these items from? And after a little bit of prompting, it will do that. It started to select different retailers, different items, and at different price points for me. So the only thing that's missing already is me giving it a credit card and saying, buy this on my behalf. So that's what's coming next. This year we'll see AI commerce. It's going to come very, very quickly, and it's going to be a massive, massive change. Because what does it mean for brands to position themselves in a world where you're reliant on an AI to shortlist the products that people buy? How do you show up in that sort of environment? Which leads into the world of AI. Actually, sorry, to give you one other example, massive impact in terms of retail and groceries. So it takes approximately 60 clicks to put a bag of groceries together every week. It's the most, it's the most mind-numbing experience possible, but there's no better way to do it, at least until now. In the future, it will be a zero-click experience. All you'll do is give it some context about your needs. Now, obviously, there's massive benefit for customers through that experience. There's loads of question marks for brands, because what does that mean for the retailer brand in terms of the UX of the retail experience? What does it mean for the brands that they sell? How do they appear? And that leads on to things like SEO, so generative engine optimization. Now, this is still very nascent. There's not clarity yet. Anybody that says they know exactly how this runs isn't correct. But there's some key areas that we can sort of take an understanding of. If an AI were to start selecting for you right now lipstick, some of the key areas they'll be looking at are actually the fundamentals. So it's how well they rank in the SEO, how they do in terms of social media and buzz, how many people are talking about them, advocating for them, how well are they doing in terms of PR. So this is the fundamentals of marketing, and I think that's a really good thing and a really key part of this debate. AI is changing so much, but it won't change the fundamentals of marketing effectiveness. Brands that really understand 360 touch points, marketing strategy, long-term brand building and measurements will do the best in an AI world. So it's not just a case of changing everything and starting from scratch. In many ways, it's going to be reinforcing all the great things we've done before, but understanding now that you're marketing as much to an AI, you're marketing to machines as much as you are marketing to individuals. So those are the three big areas for. I have one slide on the against, so apologies, it's slightly uneven, but there are some caveats. The three big ones, firstly, privacy compliance is a huge one. There's a handful of ways to do this correctly, and there's a million ways to do it incorrectly. And obviously the dangers then of your IP and proprietary information being shared and being trained on the models is critical. It's a huge risk. So understanding how to do it, working with experts, having a clear strategy, doing the governance is the most important thing. So even though brands want to jump into this space as quickly as possible, doing these fundamentals is critical so you don't go wrong along the way. Effectiveness over efficiency. The best brands are the ones that are going to understand this is about improving effectiveness over overheads and cutting people and cutting time. It's the same thing as the early days of digital. And we saw massive growth in terms of having to recruit and upskill people for digital. And that created the most unbelievable growth for businesses. So anybody that's seeing this as a cost-cutting measure is going to die very, very quickly. So the effectiveness side of AI and seeing it as additive rather than an alternative is the most critical thing. The final part is big data wins. So this is almost like an AI version of how brands grow. So the double jeopardy law. So the biggest brands just get bigger because of their size. We're seeing this with data in the AI space. So the more data you have, the quicker you can learn and the better you can operate with it. So big brands with lots of data have an unfair advantage. Media companies with a lot of data have an unfair advantage. Now, smaller brands, though, are more nimble. They can adapt quicker, and they can also work with agency partners to help them connect different data sources if they don't have it themselves. But this is going to be a key part of getting ahead, or one of the issues against AI if it's not done correctly. So that's it. I think I'm on time, hopefully. Just to say, to leave you, I'm a huge advocate for AI. I see a huge amount of opportunity. You can see the behaviors and how things are changing. My key advice, going back to the start, would be focus less on what the technology is doing, what other businesses are doing. Focus more on how customers and how real people are using it, how they're adopting it. Because if you understand them and their point of view, it becomes very, very simple to understand how you as a business should adapt and adopt AI yourselves to service their needs. So from the beginning of time in marketing, it's always been be customer first to get ahead. That won't change. That will just become even more important in an AI world. Thank you.